The last time this happened in America, it was 1963, and John Kennedy was in the White House. We got answers to some direct questions about women in the United States. What are their paychecks, their opportunities, and their obstacles? Well, now tonight, almost 50 years later, those questions have finally been asked and answered once again. A huge new report on American women, where gains have been made, where ground has been lost. And we have two correspondents on the case tonight, Elizabeth Vargas and Jake Tapper, who starts us off at the White House, where the study was released just today. Jake.
That's right, Diane. Good evening. The White House released today what it called the most comprehensive study by the government on women in almost 50 years.
Each day, 72 million women in the U.S. get up and either head to work or look for work. They're a group of women who are better educated than ever before. But they still make less than their male counterparts, on average only 80% of what a man makes. HYUN LEE graduated with a master's from Columbia and went to work for a magazine in New York City. Her male counterpart with the exact same job and only a bachelor's degree was paid $3,000 a year more.
I felt devalued. I felt like I didn't count. I felt inferior to my colleague.
Sometimes it's discrimination, but there are other factors as well behind pay inequity.
Well, one reason is that they're not going into the kinds of fields that are high income producing. And so the president, since early on in the administration, has had an effort to encourage women and girls to go into science and technology and engineering, math.
We sat down this afternoon with three professional women to talk about the fact that women still make less than their male counterparts.
Something that I've seen is women don't know, or they're unsure of how to actively advocate and negotiate a salary.
That is also a key reason for the disparity, according to ABC News workplace contributor TORY Johnson.
We have to recognize that even if we're uncomfortable, we have to speak up and negotiate for what we want.
Good Morning America put that theory to the test, telling volunteers they'd be paid for their participation in a game anywhere from $5 to $12, but it was negotiable.
I would like the max, of course.
Half the men, but only a third of the women negotiated.
$5 okay?
Yeah.
Great.
Another reason for pay inequity, women customarily take on more family responsibilities, caring not only for children, but these days elderly parents, thus limiting their availability to work for pay.
Certainly if there's travel involved, sometimes it's harder to find somebody to take care of your family or your parents or children.
ABC News' Claire Shipman says corporate America has been adapting.
When companies let people work the way they want to work, they find that productivity skyrockets, in some cases up to 40%.
The White House says it's pushing not only workplace flexibility rules, but also on the subject of pay inequity, Diane, something called the Paycheck Fairness Act, which failed in the last Congress, but the administration says it will continue to push. Diane.
Okay, Jake, thanks. And now we turn to 2020 anchor Elizabeth Vargas, who has intensely covered these issues for years and joins us now. What is the one thing you most hope people will think about tonight, Elizabeth?
That having women on your workforce is good for your bottom line financially. There are two separate studies out that show this. For example, companies that have more women on their workforce have a 35% higher return rate on equity and a 34% higher return rate for shareholders. As a result, a growing number of companies, but still percentage-wise a small number, are actively trying to recruit women with family-friendly policies like paid maternity leave or on-site child care services or flex time.
Since women carry so much of the caregiving load. So who are your hero companies tonight?
Our hero
Let's shout them out.
Only 16% go above and beyond what the government requires, but Google, for example, offers 18 weeks of paid maternity leave to new mothers, 7 weeks of paid paternity leave to new fathers. That's more than most companies offer women who've just given birth. Johnson & Johnson has 7 on-site child care centers, and Deloitte has gone even further. If you have to have a child to stay at home, for example, Deloitte will send somebody to your house to babysit for the day. It's backup child care for $6 an hour. It's pretty extraordinary.
It is extraordinary, and the discrepancy between those companies and other companies is vast.
Very dramatic.
It's a big difference in the bottom line for women. Thank you, Elizabeth Vargas and Jake Tapper as well.